Ladies and gentlemen, the day has come. We are done. After 10 weeks of building Caran, we have finished. And this is the result. So, don't know exactly what I mentioned in my previous video. However, what I did add was tank traps and the water, which goes all the way through, some explosions in the water, so maybe like artillery would sort of be behind these positions. Obviously all the minifigures, as well as sandbags in a lot of places, and a couple other details that I will go into. So, let's start going into the details. Starting off with the German side, we have a sniper up here with some sandbags. And moving down, we also have a MG42 Wehrmacht guy, and he's just gunning down these guys on this side and pinning them down. We have a couple of Germans with Kar 98s, one of them throwing the potato masher grenade, and another soldier with an MP40 trying to make his way over to sort of defend the bridge, because you can see the Allies are mounting quite a force to attack. So the Germans are really trying to preserve their strength and concentrate. And if we move over, in front of the antique shop is a MG34, and that has some supplies near it. You can see how there's a bunch of craters everywhere, and so that's sort of an indication of what these big explosions are and when they hit the streets. So we have my custom pack 40. I'll say I don't exactly know the name, but I love how it looks. I think it's super accurate, and I love the bush sort of shooting the projectile. It just looks fantastic. So sorry about the power lines are getting in the way, but we have two German soldiers, and one of them is using a bazooka round actually to load this, but it's not that important. The idea is that he's loading. So that's the German side. Didn't end up putting anything in that house, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, I kind of wanted to put stuff in there, but I just figured it might be hard to show, and realistically they wouldn't put a massive artillery gun in that small house with that small window. So in general, it looks good though. And moving on, we have now the Fallschirmjäger section. So we have one of them is dead, and I forgot to mention there was a dead one over there in that crater. So maybe he died in the crater, like when it happened or at some point, but there's blood. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there is blood. So this is a cemetery. You can see where the cemetery has had some destroyed parts, and the headstones, some of them are destroyed. But in general, the cemetery looks fine. We have our Fallschirmjägers, 1, 2, and then a third one running around that corner with the Panzerfaust, I think, or the tank, their equivalent of a bazooka. And then the last one is sort of hidden up here with another MG42. So you can see that they kind of have him and him zeroing in on this entrance to the bridge. So it's going to be very difficult for the Allies to make their way across. So I'm going to have another video that really gives the sort of cinematic montage, but this is sort of me going over everything. And as you can see, these are the US infantry, because they have the dark tan legs, and like they have these M1 carbines. Are they M1? I don't know. But they have the carbine without the foldable stock, and so that's how I differentiate them. And then they have like BRs and stuff like that. So you can see the power lines run all the way across. I didn't really feel like they were that important to mention, but those cylinder pieces are going to be helpful if I ever want to build a trench or just a better looking antique store. So we have a couple guys sort of just chilling, one guy with ammo over here, another guy sort of just sitting there. This guy is sort of directing people sort of off screen or off MOC. And then this last guy, or these last two guys, are running over because as you can see, this tank is on fire and exploding, and this guy's on fire. The tank is destroyed. This M3 Stuart is destroyed and people are dying. So they're trying to go help, and he's probably directing people to come help. And then sort of around the corner, we can see one guy dead in the crater with a lot of blood. So he probably had a very gruesome death. And then if I try not to get my shadow in the way, we see those two airborne guys sneaking over between the two tank traps, which I have to say, man, those tank traps are incredible. When I was assembling the bridge, I was like, how am I gonna, make something fill that void? Because otherwise it's just the barbed wire and then sandbags. I'm not gonna build that much sandbags. And then I realized tank traps. So that was something really neat that I got. And then, there's a couple more dead guys sort of gunned down by either him or the sniper. And as we move along, I'll get to that where the airborne is, but we have a lot more infantry coming, and a M4 Sherman on its way to support as well. So that's a semi-custom adapted battle brick model, and we have a bunch of the U.S. infantry and even one airborne guy sort of coming over, and he's directing people from up there. And so he's, covering fire, and this guy as well with the Browning on the tripod with the sandbags. So that's these guys. So in general, the basic plot is these Germans are defending this bridge sort of to the last, and this would be, I guess, sort of after D-Day, a couple of days after, where we have the airborne trying to defend this side of the bridge, so the forces on like Utah and Omaha Beach are sort of secure while they make their landings. And so the U.S. airborne are defending it, or we're defending this side of the bridge, like Saving Private Ryan. And then eventually these guys came to come and support them, so now they're trying to attack and go across the bridge, and the Germans who were on the offensive are now on the defensive. So that's what the infantry is doing. Now to the paratroopers. So if we go along this sort of boulevard or pathway that goes right along with the river, we can see that there's a bunch of airborne soldiers. So there's one guy over there, an airborne over on that side, and then there's an infantry sniper on the roof, but he's not aiming the right place. But along this sort of rows where the airborne were defending, and the idea was that they were defending it from the Germans coming across, like I just said. So we have these two guys trying to weave through the tank traps. We have one guy over here with his foldable M1 carbine gunning down that Fallschirmjäger and trying to get this one, but I think he might get him because he has the automatic weapon. And you can see one of those guys just got shot, probably by the sniper. And so just in general, what's going on is these guys are taking cover because they're about to get relieved. These guys have been fighting for a couple of days. They're exhausted. And we can see that destroyed building over there, really just got completely bombed out. And we see the guy with the bazooka and the more carbines. So this is the sort of airborne about to get relieved, except maybe not, because this gun is about to hit that tank again, and who knows what it might do to this tank. So it's going to be difficult, but I have a suspicion that that guy with the bazooka is going to help out. Well, I hope this in-depth sort of showing of the smog that took me a really long time to build was helpful. I mean, it is beautiful. I'm probably going to start building the next one in a couple weeks, maybe a month, depending on how taking this apart goes and how sentimental I get and attached to it. But I might not be as consistent with uploading after that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been BRIX Bro, and this has been Building Caran. Have a nice day.